Welcome to Café Con Leche with Liz.
And Lil. Hi, sis.
Hey, Queen.
You look as radiant as ever.
Oh, thank you.
So you just glow. I have to put on makeup to glow. You glow naturally.
It's the light and the paint.
the light and the paint. It's not me. Lies.
Your lips look phenomenal.
Hey, thank you. I'm wearing my favorite color, tooling.
Oh, I love that.
I'm excited. Well, and we had these two amazing Vanessas coming on, so I had to show up and show out with a little lip color to like bring a little
fierce
something, because they are some fierce ladies. I love these ladies so much. They are powerhouses on stage.
Damn.
We've got the ridiculously talented Michelle Lauto and equally ridiculously talented Stephanie Gomérez. I almost said Stephanie Gomérez. Saying it that way. I'm so rude.
Love it. Stephanie.
I'm so excited to talk to them.
Yeah, same.
I'm into it. We always get a little more. Get a little extra when we got the ladies. When we got some salon ladies on, it doesn't matter who it is. We're always like, we're on, we're ready. So, Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, then let's do it.
Woo!
Welcome to Café Con Leche.
Hello.
Oh my God, you look so beautiful. There's some amazing Vanessa energy happening. Look at those giant ones that Michelle is wearing.
Y'all.
They're so big.
Yes.
Listen,
I know.
call them steering wheels. They're steering wheels.
Yes. You could handcuff somebody with those.
Fully. They also double as bangles.
Come here, Usnavi.
That is not where I went. I mean,
I know that's what you did in Portland.
I never not once.
I'm like, listen, that's just like stirrups. You just put your ankles through there.
So what did we actually come on here to talk about?
See, that's that energy today. Come on, Hoop Monday. Let's go.
And we're feeling it. I love it. Let's go.
Ladies, let me start by asking you the question that we ask all of our lovely, beautiful, wonderful, talented, amazing, intelligent, ridiculous, funny, fierce as fuck guests. That's the list you're on now. How do you like your cafe? Do you like it sweet? Do you like it bitter, like your last breakup? Do you like it funny? I don't know what funny coffee is, but you might know.
Yeah, I don't know what funny coffee is. Stephanie, go ahead.
In this beautiful cup, I have Bustelo Cafe that I made in my greca, or as some may call it, a percolator. I don't do coffee machines. I've got a dairy-free creamer. And according to my mother, I like it very strong. She always looks at me when I make her coffee. She's like, "Esto está fuerte." So, strong baby.
Yeah. My mom says the same thing when I make. She does not like when anybody makes her coffee, but particularly when I try and make it.
Yeah,
I drink the whole thing by myself.
I just sort of dump what looks good to me. I don't really have I'm drinking Bustelo also, Jesus, with oat milk. And I'm trying to cut out the dairy, makes me feel, which is good, but I'm also like, oh my God, when I was young, and I do kind of like it sweet. When I do my first cup really sweet, and then my second cup, I'm like, okay, back the hell off the sugar. So I get like one treat in the morning, but I like it really strong. I think I like it strong, but my mom would let me like chew espresso beans as a child. So
That's it.
She would be like, you can have some. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know, y'all. I have my bad.
Your palate is just like, if it doesn't taste like the bean is in my mouth, it's not strong enough. I'm just picturing you also like taking, like measuring out coffee, like with cup measurements. Like,
basically.
I love you three, probably all three of you are people who drink coffee like as babies. As kids, my mom does not drink coffee, which is like, again, we kind of talked about this before we started recording. My mom is like, sometimes she's a bit of an outlier in our culture because she's like, I don't like coffee and I'm always 20 minutes early.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I swear my mom tries to be early, but she has the same curse that I do. Where she tries so hard. She tries so hard.
Alyssa, you give me anxiety. Me and Lillian were in the dressing room an hour and a half before call time, beat in the face, getting ready, chilling, just the two of us. And then when Ronnie came into the game, she was there with us. But, oh my God, Alyssa be walking in there like, 5 minutes till fight call. She'd be like, okay. Like, it was crazy.
Oh my God.
She was, and she was saying, she's like, I can't even begin to tell you how many times they're like 5 to places and Alyssa is naked. She is still putting on her face. She has not put a single piece of costuming on. Naked.
Alyssa doesn't go by places. She goes by when she has to go on stage. She goes, Spanish. Now we got a whole rap for like 5 minutes. I gotta be nowhere.
What am I do? I do make sure I say hi to everyone. I give everybody hugs and kisses. Do that. I'm connected. I'm there. I'm in it. I'm with it. But when I gotta be there. No, just kidding.
You were never late. Not once, not never. Let me tell you.
I don't think so, right? Was it?
No, there was just the one time we had to switch mid-show, but that wasn't.
That was
a whole different.
I got sick after the opening, but before the salon scene, right? I didn't make it to the salon scene. I did the cross. I did the cross, but I was like, I was throwing up, and so they ripped everything off of me, threw everything on Alyssa.
Wait, Alyssa, you covered Naki?
Yes. Yeah. And then our friend Emily covered Carla, and Emily Madigan, and she was out because she'd injured her knee. So they called her and were like, do you think you can walk? And she was like, yes. And so she came running from the hotel to throw on the Carla stuff. Yeah. And she did the show as Carla because she didn't have to dance.
Yeah.
It was. How has your quarantine been? Well, first of all, I think I know this. I think Stephanie is quarantining in New York and Michelle is quarantining in Chicago. How has your quarantine been? As far as that, also, have you felt that the arts have helped you getting through quarantine? Have you felt like you've had to step away from the arts? It both is a completely reasonable answer. How has your quarantine been? This time we're going to start with Michelle.
My quarantine has been relatively good. I mean, it's tough, right? I think we're all, the thought that keeps me getting through everything is knowing that so many people I love are in such an uncertain situation with me. So that's comforting. But so many of us, when everything shut down, I was in a show and that show was closing that Sunday, and I started rehearsals for something that Tuesday and was expecting to get a paycheck from that job on Friday, and got called the same day oh, hey, this project is postponed, and then we got to the theater that day and they were this is our closing night. So it started off really stressful, but I am when times are normal, I never give myself breaks. So I'm really trying to work really hard on using this time as a gift of slowing down, while doing other things. But so I've been tending to my house, getting ready for Lucy to move in. I've been painting. You can kind of see a painting I did on the wall up here. I did that.
Hey.
An abstract ladies' anatomy.
I was gonna say that's a beautiful vagina.
Thank you.
Say it loud and proud.
Vaginas. That's been my thing. But I've been painting, and I picked back up my guitar, and I'm trying to not to get too deep too quick, but I talk about it a lot in therapy, that so much of our self-worth sometimes in this business can be directly linked to our employment, mm-hmm. and how busy we are. And while dismantling so many other things, right, our internalized racism and misogyny and all these other things, I'm also breaking down the internalized capitalism within me that ties my worth to my productivity. And it's really hard. It's really hard to relax and stuff. And so I'm trying to put my energy there, and it's been really nice. It's it has felt at times really restorative. So yeah, arts have helped, but it's also like, as tough as it is, I'm like, it's fun to discover myself outside of musical theater and remind myself who I am outside of our really bizarre profession. So
Yeah,
that's kind of how it's been here.
It's like, I think, I can't even remember if I said this. I say something like this on every single one. I can't remember if I said this before. I must have said this before. You know, what they always tell us, you're the product, right? You're the product that you're trying to sell. So like when no one's buying the product, that thing in your mind goes, oh, the product is no good. And if you're the product, you're like, I'm no good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. Like it goes, there's a deep hole, ladies and gentlemen, of
It really is.
Psychological deep hole of being told that what you do is not essential. And like, because what you do has so much to do with you as a product, it's that you are not essential. And it's like, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Oh my gosh, please don't let that be inside my brain and my heart.
Fully. Yeah. It's a journey, but you know, I just try and like be conscious of these thoughts as they come up and not like beat myself up for having them, because I think we're all just so ingrained to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just reminding myself like, oh, I have other things to offer the world outside of this, and it's okay that this is my favorite thing to do. But like, yeah, it's tough though. It is tough. You hit the nail on the head when you're like, you're the thing you're selling. Like, it's like, well, now what the hell do I do? I don't know. It's disorienting, but.
Miss Stephanie. Yeah. Miss Stephanie, how's your quarantine been?
A roller coaster, a journey to say the least. So I'm in Brooklyn now. And when this first started, I was in that sexy little phase of denial where I was like, a month, 2 months, tops, like we're good. So this started and I was like, okay. I started making friendship bracelets. I whipped out my PSP, bought a new game. I was out here doing everything all day. I couldn't have a second to breathe. I was like, all day, Stephanie, a little bit of TV, a little bit of instrument, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then it kept getting longer and longer and they kept postponing everything. And I was like, oh, this is not healthy to maintain this freaking hamster wheel that I'm on right now. So I have brought it back down to the basics and the essentials. And like, I mean, I have like weekly spirals and breakdowns because it's just been, I mean, for me, it's been a constant, like I need to push. I need to get this career. Like once we did Hype, I was like, now we got to go further. We got to do more. We got to get bigger. And then everything just stopped. And in my mind, I was like, okay, now I have nothing to do. What am I going to do? So it was a bit of it was very difficult. And it still is very difficult. The arts in general, I think, has helped and has also hurt because you see everybody's like posting a video online, they're singing songs, they're doing this, and you kind of feel the need to keep up with them, to one up them, you know, because I don't want to say it's like a mentality of competition, but you always have to be on your toes. You always have to be presenting, you know, You are the product. So in that way, it was harmful because I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. I haven't posted anything. I haven't done anything. But that's not to say I haven't been in my room playing my ukulele, playing the guitar. I started taking online acting classes finally when my unemployment hit. I was like, we back to the grind right now. But I figured out that I have to do it for myself. It's not for a show. It's like the work that I've been doing during this quarantine will present itself. And I know that the time will come. I don't have to force it. I don't have to show it. I started learning the guitar. I was like, I've got nothing but time.
We're going to start like Vanessas that play the guitar.
I'm gonna be the person strumming the one chord. Be like,
baby same. We'll play some simple chords, but we will give presentation. We will
get these little baby chords. Yeah. So, I mean, and Thursday, actually, I'm flying out to LA because I genuinely need just like a change of scenery. Not that I'm going to go and like vacation and like live it up because, you know, there's still a pandemic going on, but I'm just going to go stay at my sister's apartment and just like namaste for a second. And I'm going to get to see Sophia.
Yes.
I'm jealous. I'm actually, last night I was talking to my brother. He lives in Montana And he was like, why don't you come visit me? And I was like, boy, I ain't got work right now. I can't be spending money on a ticket, and I'm about to lose this friggin' $600 a week from the government. That's going to go away. I don't have the money to spend to come and see you. And he's like, but you never have time to visit me. I'm like, yes, I know. Now I have the time. I don't have the funds. And he was like, well, I'm working. If I buy you a ticket, will you come? And I was like, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Montana in 2 weeks. I'll be recording, or no, it's the week that we're doing a furlough from Café Con Leche. So that worked out. But the Monday after that, I will still be there. So I'll be recording from Montana. But yeah, I get to be with my brother and my niece, who I haven't seen. I haven't seen her in, God, like 4 years.
In
4 years. Wow. Yeah, she's so big and beautiful, and I just can't wait to see her. And so I completely feel that that need to be like, I just need to get out of this particular apartment that I've been in for coming up on 4.5 months, however long we've been doing this. Mm-hmm. I know. I actually just went to Minneapolis to visit Emily Madigan for 2 days. I know, she is a dream.
I'm trying to get her to come visit me and Lucy later in August.
Yes. So I was going to say, she has plans. Her and her friend Bree have plans to come to Chicago. I need to call her and let her know not to come the week that I'm gone. But she, because it's just like, I just need to get away. I mean, I need to go somewhere where I know people are being responsible, which is why I was like, I'm going to come to you. We were so safe. We wore masks. We stayed socially distanced. The one thing that I was like, as I was driving, because I drove there, it was 6 hours. And it was amazing to get on the road and just drive. By the way, Minnesota, beautiful. So I'm driving, and as I'm getting there, I'm getting more and more excited to see her. And I was like, oh, I won't get to hug her. And that feels like poop. And then I started to formulate a plan. And I get there and I call her. I'm like, before you come outside, grab a clean sheet. And she said, huh? And I'm like, just grab a clean sheet, girl. And she comes out. She's looking confused. She's got the clean sheet. And she's like, what am I doing with this? And I'm like, and I went like this. I was like, throw it over me. Throw it over me right now. And she threw it over me. And I'm like, embrace me.
I love that.
That is hilarious.
Because I couldn't imagine not hugging her. You know what I mean? And so we both had masks on. We both had gloves on. She threw a clean sheet over me. And that's how we hugged.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it.
World.
We connected with
Sophia, if you're listening, this is what we're going to do. So get a clean sheet ready. Sophia Macias.
Ready?
Hello. That connection, it's so real. We connected with a couple who we're really good friends with last night, and we found ourselves in Fort Tryon Park, and we closed the park down. I feel like people are being really responsible, generally responsible, I think, in New York City. So you can be in a big park and people are socially distancing, but we got to a section of the park where it was like, we're looking at the Hudson and we're on this park bench. And I felt like, I feel like I'm a 12, 13-year-old, little hood kid, just chilling in the park and oh shit, there's raccoons. But it definitely felt nice to reconnect. And I'm looking forward to more of that for all of us, in spurts. I wanted to comment on what Stephanie was saying about the hustle and the grind and always having to put yourself forward as a product, because I felt something similar. I was like, I started to make videos or go through old footage that I had that I was like, yeah, I'll try and start posting some of the stuff that I've never posted before. But I'm also one of those people who it'll take me all day to make one little damn post that all I have to post is love you guys. That'll take me all day. And I was in the same boat where I was like, there's a little part of me that feels guilty, and it's like, Liz, you should be putting monologues out. You should be putting songs out. You should be putting this. But I didn't want to do that either. And I started becoming torn because I was like, I agree with you. I feel the same way. These ladies know me. I'm always somebody who's about being on the hustle.
The hustle. I don't know anybody who's got the hustle going like Alyssa. I don't know. I don't know a single story. And you three are about the hustle. I know. I'm like, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to go extra. I let my agents do most of the work. But I happen to know that you three ladies are about the hustle. And I don't know a single person in this career that I have ever crossed before ever who's got the hustle like Alyssa. Alyssa's not hustling. First of all, Alyssa's hustling for herself all the time, 24/7. But then she turns out to start hustling for everyone around her.
I love that.
She's hustling for her man. When I am in her proximity, she'll be like, girl, did you see this thing that's come up? You should put stuff in for it, because do you need me to prep it for you? Do you need me to prepare it for you? And it's like,
that's beautiful.
But that we have to support each other, but I feel like I've switched to being like, let me focus on the projects I want to produce, the projects I want to direct. Let's create more work for us that we can do together during this time, so that when this all does come back, we're like, all right, you move over. It's our turn. It's our turn. You know what I mean? So I feel like I keep saying that. I've said this a few times, but I am very excited for all the projects with beautiful brown and black bodies that are going to come to the forefront, once things reopen. It's exciting even to see all these readings and festivals and theaters asking for digital, like virtual submissions for, BIPOC artists and works. So
yeah, absolutely.
If nothing else, I think that is something to be excited for.
Mm-hmm.
It's time. Yeah. It is time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I feel like other than doing this, I have pulled back from the arts quite a bit. I mean, I did just get to record my album, but it's not a big deal or anything, guys. Oh my God. But I've mostly pulled back just because for me, it hurts too much to not be doing what we do usually. Mm-hmm. It like breaks my heart. For me, as I'm sure for probably some of you, if not all of you, for me, what we do is so much more than my job. It's so much more than a thing I like to do a lot. It's a thing that feels almost like church to me. I find a reverence in it, and I find a worship in it where my dad is my biological father. My biological father is very spiritual, and he's like, back in the day in indigenous tribes, people who did what we do, they were considered like almost like holy people, because they were about holding up the spirit and the stories of the community, right? Mm-hmm. And I really, when he first told that to me like 8 years ago, I really took it to heart. And I was like, what I do is a church to me. So if I'm going to do this and I'm going to give it the respect and honor that it deserves. And it hurts me to not be able to do that. Mm-hmm. So that's been rough. But because I haven't done as much of that, I've been able to commit myself more to the Black Lives Matter movement and, protesting and doing what I can to, because I didn't do a lot of posting on Instagram to begin with. But I'm like, if I'm going to post, I'm going to post something about Black Lives Matter. And if I post something about myself, then the next thing I'm going to post is about Black Lives Matter. Like I'm trying to figure out a way to support and be there and be present for that, because that feels like something that I can really invest myself in. And
absolutely.
Good about. Michelle and I went to a protest the other 2 weeks ago. That was a protest against ICE. And it was it was so amazing, and it finished off like with a mariachi band. I've said it before and I'm saying it again, all protests should have bands.
Fully.
The ones that I've been to that had bands, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah. that was that was one of the most special parts of the whole thing to me was, and knowing, because we were outside of an ICE detention center in Chicago where people are being held, and we were chanting "We haven't forgotten you" and other things like that. And I don't know the inner workings of that building. I don't know where they're being kept. I don't know if they can hear us outside, but like I just had this in my mind. They could hear their music and hearing us sing and dance and knowing that we were there. Like, I don't know. I just can only imagine like how scary that situation is and to be in, and to be like dehumanized so consistently by our government, and for those small moments of humanity, right? Like I'm recognizing that you are people there, and you're people with a culture, and you're people with a history who are from this land this stolen land that we exist on. Like it was such a beautiful, my roommate Lucy, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, I believe, right? She was with us too, and it was so lovely because I didn't know Lillian was going. And then her roommate and my friend texted me and was like, if you see Lillian, because like she had to get out of the car, let me know. And then like, and Lillian's so tiny that like in this crowd of people, I'm like looking up and around, and I'm not very tall myself, but I'm taller than Lillian.
Yeah, she clapped me.
Like,
I'm always
cute little hair in the back, like so.
Yeah,
Like, it was very nice.
I'm always trying to be very responsible because like my husband is a nurse and my parents are older, and we are still in the middle of this pandemic. So whenever I go to these protests, I'm always on like either the outside of it so that I don't have anybody to the next to me, so I only have to be aware of being 6 feet away from these people.
Yeah.
Or I'm in the back, even though like I can't see or can't hear. I'm like, but I'm here. I showed up. I got my sign. Oh, I forgot to put up my sign. And I mean, I would be on the outside anyway because the whole idea is to put my body between
the police and
black people.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I just am like, but it helps with like me feeling like I'm doing it safely. And it was so wonderful to have Michelle find me because I've been spending so many of these protests alone, and not alone because there's lots of people there, but alone like nobody's got an eye on me. You know what I mean?
It's always good to have a buddy. In fact, it's like,
and I almost all but two of the protests that I've gone to, I've gone by myself because, I've got friends who either can't go because they're immunocompromised or I haven't been able to get a hold of someone to go with me. And I'm like, and I gotta go. Go. So it's been scary. So it was lovely to have company and to be there in the back dancing and singing. And I got to tell you, the other protest that I went to that had a band was against the carceral system. And we protested around the jail around the prison on the south side of Chicago. And we could hear them banging their cups and their bars so they could hear us. I was like weeping. They could hear us, they could hear the band, and we stopped because there's the men's side and the women's side. So like we went around, we stopped at the men's side, we played. And then as we got silent, because we all took a knee, well, I didn't take a knee because my knees are bad. I sat on my ass, but listen, I tried. I was like, I can't. That's rude, but I will sit on my butt. As we all got silent, we could hear them, inside. And I was just like, oh my gosh, we love you. We just kept saying over and over again, we love you, we love you, we love you. And then we walked to the women's side and stopped, did the same thing, played, chanted, quieted down, and then we could hear them, and we were like, they can hear us.
That's beautiful.
And so that is what I think, or what I hope that protest that we were at, I hope that they were inside hearing us, even if we couldn't hear them,
Same.
Yeah.
That was my hope too. Yeah.
There's so much power. It's when for those of us and viewers as well who have been able to protest, have had the ability to then quarantine and want to do it safely, of course. The power and the positivity that's at least been in some of the New York protests has been really amazing. So it becomes really frustrating, of course, then when you see on the news or even you talk to people who have no idea what the protests are like and all they want to focus on is destruction and people not being responsible and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, but you're saying all that to me standing here with no mask. So like, what are we?
Lillian is my witness at this protest. The only people not wearing masks were police officers. The only people.
Yep.
Both of them, not socially distanced, none of them wearing masks. Every protester I saw had a mask on, none of the cops.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear anything about the protest spreading the pandemic because they had someone whose sole job was to disinfect the microphone in between every speaker.
Mm-hmm.
They were being so cautious. The level, passing out hand sanitizer, passing out water, like
masks.
Ooh, I get so fired up because they really are trying to paint it to be something it's not.
Even in New York, the biggest one we went to was downtown, and we marched all the way down to One Police Plaza, and there were people who were just waiting along the sidelines of the street, not even marching with, but with signs saying, we have masks, we have water. Like they weren't going to march with, but they were there lined up, getting ready to support. There were people walking through the crowds, giving out masks if there were people without, which there were very few and far between who had no masks, So it's interesting, the thought about how we're going to look back at this time, it's like thinking about the people who got to march and protest during the civil rights movement, I wonder how close we are to our experiences, what it's similar to what they were experiencing in those moments and how we're going to look back at this time. I was having this conversation yesterday with somebody about how this is not the first time there's been detention camps, in this country. The fights with immigration are crazy, especially for a country built of immigrants and on stolen land. So, yeah, I would say to anybody listening, if you haven't protested, not to push anybody to, because of course there are many reasons why people can't, but don't comment or knock them down unless you have done your own education and keep yourself informed. Speaking of all this, have you during these times have you ladies felt empowered to take on either certain projects or educate yourself more on certain movements? How do you feel the Black Lives Matter movement bringing BIPOC voices to the forefront has affected you guys? And
I know that's not a question that I included in our email. I'm sorry.
No pressure to answer either.
I mean, I feel like because I'm a BIPOC person, but I'm not a Black person, so I still have a lot of educating myself to do, But I know it's been a time of a lot of growth and support and discovering things about myself. Like the more and more things that I saw and the more I heard people talking about specific things, I didn't realize how much of my life I spent tiptoeing and trying to please white people in this career, in my life in general. And I had a meeting with friends, and somebody mentioned something, and I just started crying, and I don't know why. It hit me, and I was like, it's like finally I was seen, and somebody saw something that I didn't even realize. It's like, and I feel empowered now to honestly, like when you're in auditions, they're like, just don't care about who's behind the table, don't give a shit, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like, I really don't give a fuck, because I have spent my entire 26 years of life giving too many fucks about what you think, about what you've created as a social norm, what is right and what is wrong. And I'm sick and I'm tired of it. And I think about like, oh God, this was the most horrific story. When I was doing my college, like conservatory auditions, I didn't have anybody in my family that did theater, acting, anything. So I was really going off the words of one of my best friends, who was a white girl who went to camps, who did all of this, and she gave me as much advice as I could. And I'm gonna name the school. I went to the Carnegie Mellon audition room, and I, not knowing any better, one of my songs, my ballad song, was Legally Blonde. Not for any reason other than I thought it sounded nice on my voice.
Yeah.
and they laughed when I got to the point where I sang Legally Blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's okay for white people to sing Dreamgirls, to try and sing like The Color Purple. Like, why is it funny when I do it in the Heights? Why is it funny when I do it and it's bold when you do it, you know?
As though a Latina can't have, or a Black woman can't have blonde hair. First of all, like, do you know what I mean? As though that's something you can, like, it doesn't even, and also you were singing it for an audition for a conservatory. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. And the word Legally Blonde, like, listen, I mean, if I buy it out of a bottle and turn my hair blonde, listen, that is a blonde legally.
I'm legally whatever the fuck I say I am. That's what it is.
Yes.
And like, it's just these little things that keep coming, and I'm, oh my God.
You need to sing that song again. And when you get to the Legally Blonde section, it's legally, I am whatever the fuck I say I am. You need to do that. You need to do that.
Legally whatever the fuck I say it is. On like a whole fucking video.
End it straight faced. I'm telling you. You.
Look directly into the camera.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Creepy as hell.
Yes. I'll direct it and record it for you.
See?
Thank you.
Shit.
You see the hustle. She's like, do you need me to do that for you?
I can help.
Like, let's do that shit. That's a statement.
I'm here.
I'm
ready.
Great point about, like, I think right now in this moment of pause, it's all linked, right? Like with us, with Black Lives Matter and everything else, and us like looking at, we see you in our theater community, all these things. Like, I think we are breaking down these systems that we, like you said, you accept before all these little things. And it's like, no, these institutions, these programs are classist and racist and elitist. I'm a college dropout because of a really awful experience in like an all-white musical theater program that just like did not embrace nor encourage individuality in any sense, right? And similarly, no one in my family has a background in this business. They didn't know. We also were like very, very middle class. I didn't take singing lessons. I didn't have everything I put together was like, even when I started auditioning for things when I was 16 and would start to like take the bus to the city to go audition, crash an EPA, it was all like learning it by doing it. And it's why I'm like happy we have this moment of pause to look at all these systems that have only benefited certain people this entire time, have elevated certain people within our business. Like when we're looking at, it's making global waves, but it's also saying, where am I, what communities am I a part of, and how do I make the change in my communities? And we're part of this theatrical community, and we have to be holding people to higher standards. Lillian knows, y'all, at the start of all this, I got into it with the artistic director of one of the biggest theaters in the country.
She sure did.
They have a history that they still, to me, have not risen to the occasion as far as telling us what their plans are moving forward to have more equity in the company. Mm-hmm. But I just had this moment. It's like Stephanie said, we're constantly catering, right, to the fragility of like white masculinity, especially. And let me present myself in a way that's palatable to you. Let me present myself in a way that's more easily digestible. And it's out of fear if I want to work. I need to work because I need health insurance and all this shit. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, we're not working anyway. So I'm going to tell you, now's the time for me to tell you how I feel. And if you don't freaking hire me, then guess what? I have this phone. I'll know exactly why, because I said my piece and I can put my head on my pillow at night and know that I told you I don't fuck with you. But it is
for the record, this person gave her a not so veiled threat. You won't like working with me then.
After he down to me the entire conversation and called me a pet name that I asked him to not call me, because I was like, you're condescending to me. I need you to stop calling me my dear over and over again. Yeah. And then eventually, after resisting not doing that, he said, well, if you don't like that, there's probably a lot you wouldn't like about working with me.
Well, thank God there are a lot of great theater companies throughout the country.
Oh, and here's the deal.
On blast.
And one of the things I love most about the WeSeeU list of demands is term limits for artistic directors. I think that is genius, because so many of these institutions, huge, and I'm not like calling anyone out right now for specific things, But when you look at the largest musical theater houses in the country, they're all ran by white people, and it's all been the same guard over and over again. No more. Like, of course you're not producing works that are authentic and exciting. You're not producing things that are coming from any point of view besides your own. Like,
and it's hard. It's hard to recognize, these people are older, I think it's hard for them to recognize, even if when they were young, let's say, even if when they were young, they were ahead of the curve as far as inclusion and and this and the other. I'm like, you have to stay ahead of that curve for the rest of your career if you're going to stay in that position. And they don't, because they don't realize that the curve is getting past what they think is where it needs to be. Because not to say that it was equitable when they were ahead of the curve, but like, do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like,
people get comfortable. They sit down. They say,
yeah.
I did it. I did the work. I did that. Sit back on that.
Well, and like, what's it called? That thing where people have to hire people of color. What is it called? Affirmative action. Affirmative action. Yes, that was good at the time because we're trying to get more people of color. But it created a checklist thing now that you're used to.
Even on Broadway.
You're just like, I have to check this list. I have to check that. I have to check that. Bare minimum. Yeah, minimum. That's not enough. But they haven't grown to realize that that's not enough, right? So it's because you're older and you're stuck in your ways. And while maybe when you were younger, that was fine, now it's not anymore, And so between like growing with the times, and if you can't grow with the times, then you need to let somebody else step in who will grow with the times. And B, that's B. A is we need more people of color in those positions. We need more people of color. We need more women. We need like, that's just has to be.
Yeah. That's I've been toying back and forth because I'm getting ready to send out a wave of like internship emails and like shadowing emails for like directing and stuff like that for myself, because I've been saying for years, I went to school for directing, not for performing. But this world is crazy. You never know where it's going to wind up taking you, but I have been itching to get back. And now even more. I'm like, I would like to be behind the table. I would like to be putting our voices out there, knowing that these voices also live in me, and it's even a thing where I'm like, we're all struggling right now, but there's a part of me that's like, fuck it. Like, cause I want to also make sure everybody gets paid. So I'm like, I might just make a GoFundMe for the co-op soon and be like, who wants to invest? Yeah. We're ready. Let's get these people paid. Let's do this shit. Let's, and it's not just me. There are lots of independent companies now popping up, and maybe we'll do that next. We'll like put a list out there for if people who are looking for investment opportunities, invest in these new production companies and theater companies of color that are banding together and popping up. Because
for those of you who don't know, Co-op is Alyssa's production company. So if you're looking to support, please look it up on Instagram, on Facebook, on all the things.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It ties into that conversation of wealth and what wealth is and ownership. And I think we become more powerful and can control the narrative more when we build our own things, obviously. Here's to tearing shit down and rebuilding it back up.
Absolutely.
Alyssa, should I send you my resume? Because I need work.
You already the co-op. Everybody in this interview.
I think you have my resume.
We go talk soon. I love it.
Oh, ladies, we're doing so good on time. I'm so proud of us. I know I keep looking at the clock like, yes, no, maybe. What is the next question that I wanted to ask you? I don't have them in front of me for the first time.
Well, we're talking about building, creating our own work. But we're all brought together by a show about us, for us, written by us. In the Heights. And we've got two phenomenal Vanessas here. Vanessa!
Three phenomenal Vanessas.
I was going to say, Alyssa, listen, Alyssa's on her way to getting a full house. all of you, have either of you played Nina? before?
I have.
That one. She's also on her way to getting a full house. You still got time, Steph. You still got time.
You know what's funny is I turned down a contract last summer. I was offered Donnie in a show out in Michigan. I was offered, and I was like, well, if I do it, then I just got to do like Carla and like I'm trying to get my bingo card. I'm trying to age into it.
Girl, samesies. I'm like, all right.
She's just missing Camila and Abuela, right, Alyssa?
Yeah. Yeah. Just got to age a little bit more. I'm getting there. I got grades coming in.
That's time.
But ladies, tell us two things. A, how did In the Heights come into your life? And B, how did it change your life? Michelle.
Good, because I was going off.
To my life, my friends, I was a big, I grew up just outside New York City, and I discovered when I was 14 that I could see shows very cheap by playing ticket lotteries. And so I would literally go to the Coinstar and put my quarters in every week and go see Rents or go see whatever I was in the mood for. And I met a whole group of friends that I'm still friends with till this day, of actors and other young kids who love theater. And one of them was an usher. He's just did a tour of something, but he was an usher at different theaters around town. And In the Heights was playing off Broadway at the time. And he was like, you have to see this show. This show's gonna, he didn't even tell me anything about it. Do you know what I mean? Besides the fact that it took place in Washington Heights, I knew nothing about it. It was just like, this show's gonna change your life. And he was completely correct. And it's been really cool to see how it changed. And then when it was on Broadway, I saw it a couple times and got to see, I think it was also one of the first times, I'd never seen a show where West Side Story was the only show to me that like had Puerto Ricans in it, but like they're in a gang and it's not really like it's written by white people and it's very much like the Puerto Rican experience through white people's eyes. And I think I subconsciously realized that as a kid. But it was the first show that I was like, oh my gosh, this is like about a neighborhood I know. This is about the cultures I know. These people look like my family. When I was probably 17, I saw Krista Rodriguez go on for Vanessa. And it like changed my life because I was like, she was like one of my heroes as a teenager. And I was like, she looks like me and she's playing a proud Latina on stage. Because also as a mixed person, I always have like struggled with like, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough. And there was something so like, I was so mesmerized seeing someone who looked like me doing in a show like that. It was so thrilling to me. And then I got lucky enough to like, and then besides like the emotional impact the material had on me, doing the show, like I think it does for so many people, gifts you with a family whenever you do it. It just is one of those shows. Like when I did Hair, I had a similar experience where I felt gifted a group of people. But you know, Lucy, my roommate now, we met 4 years ago. She was my Nina. Like we're best friends now. You know what I mean? And Yondo, who like one of my other best friends, who also did In the Heights with Lillian, was in our ensemble and is like my brother. And I just like, it's truly to the point where these are some of my best friends in Chicago now, and my family, my Chicago family. And I can't imagine a world where I didn't have, you know, my girl over here, Stephanie, you missed it, but my washing machine basically exploded right before we started this interview. And things were being knocked all over the house. Because it was
amazing.
And they witnessed me and Lucy like spilled detergent. Should have been, the entire thing was just too much. But awesome. I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for like that. I'm grateful for like, I mean, and I know Lillian, it's all right. Like we would have met in this community, Lillian, but like I knew you because you had done In the Heights with friends of mine. Like it's all connected, right? Like it's so special.
Stephanie?
Y'all. This show takes me on a whole emotional journey. So I saw it, one of my brother's ex-girlfriends was like in the student council for her college, and she was able to get a lot of like free Broadway tickets. And she knew I loved it, so she would always take me whenever she could. And she took me to go see In the Heights. I was in high school. And when I tell you, it was the minute I was just like, my eyes went gunk. Weirdly enough, was when Usnavi goes, fall. the milk is gone. Because I have never heard anyone, I was like, full. That's what I say. Wait, this is a Broadway stage and you're up there saying full? What, it's like, it was so amazing. I was like, oh yeah, I say that. That's hilarious. Oh, I understand what you guys are saying. Oh my God, my family does that. It's like I was on the stage. It's like am I still, sorry.
Okay.
I'll just froze for a second. Am I still good?
You good.
Okay, sorry.
You're good.
And it was the most amazing. I listened to that album nonstop. You'd see me all day in my room. I wasn't vocally there yet, but you'd see me try and sing Nina and Vanessa. I was like, yeah! Like, it wasn't cute, but I tried. And I was like, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to get it. So it was always in my heart. And then, Jesus, listen to the names and remember it. Maya Dralis, William Carlos Angulo, Daniel Kazemi, and Milwaukee Repertory Theater changed my life. I went into those auditions and they were like, they're looking at you for ensemble understudy. And I was like, I don't care. I could be the fucking Piragua cart. If I'm in the Heights in a co-pro for 6 months, I will literally be in the cart like this, handing out fucking Piraguas if I have to. Anything you give me. And when I tell you, I cried that I found that I was going to be Vanessa. And to this day, I have not been in a show that was that connected, that was that much of a family. And it was amazing. Like, listen, Lillian, y'all were my fucking big sisters. I didn't know shit about shit. And I had a question. Y'all were there with the answer. Y'all had the experience, and you guys had my back for anything and everything. Questions, advice, anything. I will never forget the day I was in Cincinnati, and I was not feeling good about my performance. When I tell you I walked by Alyssa, didn't say a goddamn word to her, and she was like, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Nothing." And I went into my dressing room. She whipped open the curtain. She goes, "Now you're going to tell me the truth? What's wrong?" Crying. I said, "How did you know?" We were in tune with everything. And the same thing with everybody was so just in love with each other. And after 6 months, I was ready to do another 6 months. And the show is about family. The show is about the struggle together. It's about the love and community. And you had to create that within the cast to show the audience that. And it's such a beautiful show in and of itself. And no matter where you do it, no matter who you do it with, it's going to be something that brings you together. And ever since then, I've just been like, if a show's not like that, I don't want to do it. We got to keep going higher, baby. That's it. I know what my worth is. Let's go. I walked in there with imposter syndrome. I was like, this is crazy. This is my first professional gig. Why am I Vanessa? I walked out. I said,
that's fine.
Yes.
That's it. That's what that show did for me.
And it's so true, because I know that Michelle also, her show ran for a very long time. How long did you guys run, Michelle?
About 5 months.
5 months. Yeah. To say that I would, if they called me tomorrow and said, "Hey, we're doing this again," I'd be like, I am packed. Where's my ticket?
I would sign on for a minimum year contract. I would have no problem. That is one of those shows that I would have zero problem doing for however long they would have me do it for.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
It is that kind of, and it was my first, I did it 4 years ago, and it was my first time booking an equity role. I had covered equity shows before, but it was my first time booking a lead in an equity show. And similarly, it was just this how I had insane imposter syndrome. I remember being at callbacks, and Lucy and I was called back for Nina and I was called back for Vanessa. And Lucy and I were the only two Ninas, and then it was me and this one other girl for Vanessa. And I sat there and I could hear
I got called in for Nina too on that one.
Were you?
I was called in for a Nina and Danny.
I don't think you were at my final.
No, I wasn't at the final, but at Porchlight, because I read with what's his name who played Usnavi, and I read with JBD.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what am I doing here for Nina? Why am I?
I mean, I would love to
At
see your
least,
Nina.
girl,
Agreed.
I really would.
I was like, I'm at least 10 years older than the other girls being looked at for Nina. Why am I here?
Oh my God. Well, I was sitting there and I'm like, I heard this bitch sing, and I was like, well, she's booking it. I mean, I was like, I'm not like that's happening. And I thought,
she acts like she can't belt her face off.
In my brain, like mentally, I'm a Nina in the sense that like I identify with Nina as a character so much.
Yeah.
So in my brain, I was like, I'm not like sexy enough to play Vanessa. Like they're not going to see me. Like I really, and so the other girl who was in callbacks for it is like such a friggin' knockout. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I see the writings on the wall. She gonna book Nina. She gonna book Vanessa. I'm gonna be unemployed. Like I felt it. I could feel it. And then I was so relieved, like so relieved, and also just so happy because playing Vanessa like gave me so much confidence that I didn't have before. And I found my sexiness and I found feeling like, feeling good in my body. And it was like it was a gift. I don't think I realized I needed to play. I would have been in my comfort zone playing Nina. And I was out of my comfort zone playing Vanessa. And I'm so glad because like it pushed me to a place I needed to be, Oh, it's the best show.
Ladies, before we go, are there organizations, theaters, projects that you're working on, things that you want to shine a light on? We will put links to those things in the comments below on YouTube. On Instagram, you will see names of those things on either side. Miss Stephanie, you go first.
I donated to the Okra Project. I don't know if anybody's mentioned it on here before, but it's great. It's support of Black trans lives. The Okra Project, look it up. It's phenomenal. And I'm going to give a shout out to Baltimore Center Stage because I did a show last year and they have, she's relatively new artistic director, Stephanie Ibarra, and she came in there and she said, no, honey, this is for us now. And I had such a great experience. I did an amazing show there. She is amazing. So Baltimore Center Stage, shout out. And y'all, let's make some noise because this 600 about to end. We need that money, especially us artists who are out of the job. So fight for this pandemic relief money immediately. Call, email, text, annoy, because there are going to be a lot of people struggling real hard if that really goes away. This is supposed to be the last week. So
yeah. Michelle, what do you want to spotlight, girl?
So 2 quick things. I'm really lucky. One of my gifts of quarantine is that I've gotten really friendly with my downstairs neighbor. His name is Miguel, and he's a teacher in Chicago here. Him and his partner Robbie, and he's a theater nerd and used to live in New York and loves the Heights. And he started a candle company recently in quarantine. It's called the Brown Line Candle Company, and he makes all different kinds of candles in Topo Chico bottles. He made this one, and all the proceeds go to organizations that benefit brown and black communities in Chicago. Awesome. So check them out, the Brown Line Candles.
He's about to get an order from me right quick.
That's great. And then additionally, I think it'll be announced this week, but I am running for Central Principal Delegate for the National Convention of Actors Equity Union and Association, and my info will be on the website soon, but if you're in the Central region and you can vote, the election's in September. Let's, in the spirit of all of us changing this landscape for the better, let's get voices being heard that need to be heard, and I will fight like hell for everyone. So those are my 2 plugs.
Yes, girl.
Amazing. Oh, ladies, thank you so much for coming. You've been so lovely. Thank you so much for coming on. You're both so amazing, so talented. I cannot wait to get back on stage with you. And thank you if you're watching or listening. Thank you for tuning in to Café Con Leche. And we hope you always have your café exactly the way you like it. Bye.
See you soon.